Why does the President of the United States cut after-school programs and cut from the kids out of their budget $1.2 billion? President Trump promised us that he wants to make America great again. That's not how you make America great. By taking $1.2 billion away from the children and robbing them blind.
Nobody expected Schwarzenegger versus Melania in 2025. Nobody asked for it, but now nobody can look away. This wasn't just a casual jab, it was a full-blown, headline-stealing, internet-breaking moment. And the best part? Arnold knew exactly what he was doing. So why did he go there? And why is Trump suddenly rushing to Melania's defense?
President Trump, I just saw your press conference with President Putin, and it was embarrassing. I mean, you stood there like a little wet noodle, like a little fanboy. I mean, I was asking myself, when are you going to ask him for an autograph or for a selfie or something like that? I mean, you literally sold out at this press conference our intelligence community, our justice system, and worst of all, our country. You're the President of the United States. You shouldn't do that. I mean, what's the matter with you?
Buckle up, this gets wild. Did Arnold Schwarzenegger just let loose a verbal sledgehammer on Melania Trump? Did Arnold Schwarzenegger just unleash a verbal sledgehammer on Melania Trump? The former action star politician just let loose a hot fire take that's allegedly got Trump seeing red.
Sought to overturn the results of an election, and of a fair election. He sought a coup by misleading people with lies. My father and our neighbors were misled also with lies, and I know where such lies lead. President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. But what are we to make of those elected officials who have enabled his lies and his treachery?
But what did Arnold actually say? Why is Melania in the crosshairs? And how did this sudden celebrity showdown turn into the internet's new go-to? Buckle up, because this one's wild. If one thing is clear by now, it's that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Donald Trump have been exchanging rhetorical blows longer than some Hollywood marriages endure.
People have made some comparisons of your candidacy in 2003 and Donald Trump's today. What similarities do you see, and what are the differences?
Well, I think that, I don't really study that much of, what is the difference between Donald Trump and my candidacy. I study much more the field polls and USC Schwarzenegger polls that you've just done about what do the people really think.
All began back in the Celebrity Apprentice days when Arnold filled in as host following Trump replacing the firing of D-list celebrities with, well, attempting to fire half the government. Ever since, these two have been embroiled in a petty, passive-aggressive feud. Imagine Jim Bro bravado meets Twitter ego. But here's the catch. Beneath all the jabs, political beefs, and cringeworthy insults regarding TV ratings, there was always one unspoken rule.
I think it is funny that he uses a prayer breakfast. I think, plus, I have thick skin. I mean, this doesn't bother me at all. And it's very funny. And it gave me an opportunity to then go and shout back and say, that the show didn't do well because, 1/3 of the audience left because they boycott the show because you're the executive producer, Donald Trump. If you would have just not opened up your mouth and tell everybody that you're the executive producer, we would have had really great ratings on the show. But the advertisers left, the audience left. They hate the guy. So they left, and so I was caught in the middle of this political thing there. So I said, that's why I said I'm not going to do the show again.
Don't mess with Melania. And yet, somehow, some way, 2025 just dropped a plot twist from a weird simulation. Because out of left field, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tinseltown action star, past governor of California, simply went at the one Trump that no one in their right minds ever predicted to get into a fight. Welcome the collective gasp of the internet. Did the Terminator just roast Melania? Rumor running rampant. Was this retaliation payback of a sort for Melania's notorious shade-eye look to him in some 2010 charity event? Did Melania flake Arnold on his vegan protein line in Whole Foods? Or was Arnold just bored, looking at his pet donkey in the backyard and thinking, yeah, today's the day? Well, the actual reason, that's where things take a turn for the wild. This story is about to go in an unexpected direction. Arnold Schwarzenegger just dropped a verbal demolition job on Melania Trump, and the internet can't handle it. Whatever the motivation, the complete randomness of it all made it ideal. Of all the celebrity beefs 2025 might have served up, Kanye against AI-rendered Taylor Swift, Elon Musk against his own autonomous Tesla, no one had Schwarzenegger against Melania on their bingo card. It was the feud no one asked for. And yet, suddenly no one could avert their eyes. It began sweetly enough, just Arnold Schwarzenegger settling in for a relaxed interview about global warming and staying in shape at 77. Biceps, solar panels, you know, the works. But then, boom, the subject changed abruptly. The host threw out a throwaway question on political leadership in 2025, likely anticipating a safe, scripted answer. But Arnold unleashed the verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb. At least I never had to hide behind my wife.
Mr. Trump has been indicted on federal charges, but most of the top Republican officials are siding with him against the special prosecutor. How do you explain that?
If the charges are correct, then he's going to be in deep trouble. But at the same time, I have to say that, we're always innocent until proven guilty. So we will find out what...
Boom, a bullseye. And the internet felt it right away. Trump is already struggling in legal turmoil, with federal indictments and leading Republican officials running around trying to save his bacon. The interviewer, shell-shocked, released an embarrassed laugh, most likely assuming it was just another throwaway line. But the internet? Oh, the internet was already running with it. Even before the camera lights had a chance to cool down, our Hasta La Vista Melania was trending. Meme accounts were burning the midnight oil, and reaction videos were pouring into every corner of social media. And the most unbelievable part? This was only the beginning. What came next? Oh, this gets significantly wilder. Stay tuned, because this tale is far from finished. The internet just turned Arnold's burn into a full-blown spectacle. And in an instant, TikTokers went into overdrive. Arnold's one-liner was everywhere. Remix upon remix, his words diced up, splattered with Terminator sound effects, accompanied by bass drops as if he just released the diss track of the year. But while the internet partied, the rumor mill ran hot. Was Arnold shooting down Melania's infamous "I don't really care, do you" jacket moment? Or was he suggesting that Trump always hides behind his wife whenever he gets into trouble? The ultimate "don't ask me, ask Melania" defense tactic. The icing on the cake, Arnold never explained. He simply sat there, grinning, like a man who knew precisely what he had just done. No explanation, no afterthought, just vibes. And the internet adored it. Some referred to it as a sly zinger. Others claimed it was a full-blown roast, with a European accent and delivered with Schwarzenegger-level accuracy. Either way, by the end of the day, the memes were rampant.
They hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. It's been a total disaster. Ever bet against Trump again. And I want to just pray for Arnold, if we can, for those ratings.
Schwarzenegger photoshopped as the Terminator, standing with a cardboard sign that said, "Free Melania." Twitter divided into two factions. Half the internet anointed Arnold the Savage Grandpa, who just dropped the most surprising burn of the year. The MAGA crowd, oh, they broke out the old Hollywood elite out-of-touch playbook and went full meltdown mode. And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, in the midst of the madness, a conspiracy theory thread appeared. What if Arnold is involved in a covert Austrian scheme to take over American politics via protein powder? At this point, the entire thing was starting to feel like a fever dream, and yet somehow it was only getting wilder, because while the internet was in stitches, Trump was allegedly fuming. What ensued? Oh, you're not ready for this one. The celebrity feud. 2025 didn't know it needed.
I want to ask you a quick question about Donald Trump. He listed his weight at 215 pounds. You are one of the foremost experts on the male physique, bodybuilding, etc. When you size him up, what would you guess that man weighs?
I don't really know how much he weighs. I can tell you one thing, that if you would ask me what should you do for fitness, I would just say run around yourself 3 times. You're gonna be in...
Just when the world was bracing for an AI apocalypse, Arnold Schwarzenegger decided to hit us with the most random celebrity beef of the year. A feud so unexpected, it made Kanye versus AI-generated Taylor Swift look predictable. Because if there's one thing Arnold doesn't do, it's bite his tongue. Particularly when Donald Trump is concerned. Their long-standing childish beef has been festering for years, going all the way back to when Arnold Arnold commandeered The Apprentice, and Trump couldn't help but live tweet each and every rating slide like a scorned ex. But this time, Arnold didn't only target Trump, his crosshairs were set on Melania, and the internet flabbergasted, speechless, losing its mind. Why now? Why Melania? Good question. If you've been paying attention, the former First Lady turned luxury handbag influencer has been slowly stepping back into the spotlight. Recently, she made a rare public appearance to talk about immigration policy, a moment as ironic as a billionaire lecturing us about budget cuts. And something in her assiduously scripted remarks must have triggered a switch in Arnold's mind, because one moment he's calm inspirational YouTuber mode, the next, full Terminator roast mode.
I have to say that you have a little bit of blind spot. And that is, every time you talk about America, you're right when you say that our leadership in Washington is a little bit backwards. But you're wrong when you say that America dropped out of the Paris Agreement. Because if you look a little bit beyond Washington, you will see that it is the states and the cities, it's local governments, that control 70% of our...
Naturally, the internet did what the internet does best. Turned the whole saga into a meme-fueled circus.
But what if this wasn't just about Melania? Nobody is discussing this, but perhaps this wasn't about Melania at all. Consider, Arnold has spent years sermonizing about speaking truth to power. While all this was going on, Melania has constructed an entire persona on being the silent, stoic observer. Her go-to move, a nice smile, a cryptic stare, and the infamous "I don't care, do you?" jacket moment. So what if Arnold's shot wasn't just at her, but at the privilege of silence? The way some people can coast through scandals without ever having to get their hands dirty. And if that's true, this rivalry just got a whole lot deeper. And believe me, Trump's response to all of this, it's going to send this entire saga into a new level of madness. Arnold Schwarzenegger has spent too many years railing against corrupt politicians, climate change deniers, and power-hungry egomaniacs to let this one go.
Hey Donald, I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. And then people can finally...
The man survived 7 Terminator movies. You think he's scared of a little rich lady side-eye? Please. And if that's the case, then Arnold's not just throwing shade, he's throwing down the gauntlet. Because in 2025, the world is messier than ever, and staying quiet while everything burns, that's not just a fashion choice, it's a political one. And if anybody is gonna call out that, it's gonna be the dude who used to say, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Enter Trump. On cue, Trump's Twitter fingers went into hyperdrive. Because if there's one absolute law in 2025, it's that Donald Trump never allows a public zinger to go unreturned. Within hours, the all-caps tirade appeared on the timeline. Arnold equals washed up loser. Couldn't even keep The Apprentice going. Total disaster. Nobody cares. Sad old school Trump, tossing shade like it was 2016. Like anyone was just sitting around waiting for The Apprentice Nielsen ratings report. But here's what actually sent the internet into a collective frenzy. Trump, yes, Donald Trump was defending Melania all of a sudden. A woman who, for most of a decade, has appeared to have been buffering mid-divorce documents at all public appearances. Abruptly, Trump was a knight in gleaming spray tan, dashing to defend the honor of his wife.